We're back with another episode of Test Chamber. I'm your host, Andrew Reiner. Today we're looking at The Walking Dead. We have a full house. We have Ben Reeves.
Ben Reeves.
Ben Hanson.
Ben Reeves.
One Ben is not enough.
And Ben Oestreicher.
Jason Benifer.
So, Ben Reeves, you played this for review and just finished that up. It's on our website now. What'd you think?
Go read it to find out what I thought.
Good idea.
No, it's good, actually. I gave it an 8.25. I liked little moments like this in the car, really sweet. Like the dialogue. It's very, very heavy story-driven, but I like the story. I kind of like where it went and a lot of the moments.
Now, you're going to see a lot of choices come up here in the conversation. Have you seen any of these make a difference, or are they just different dialogue options?
They do make a difference, yeah.
I don't think it's a spoiler, but there's 5 major branching points in the first episode, and they kind of tell you at the end after you finish it, because this is just the first episode of 5, and this will last 2 to 3 hours. And then at the end of this one, it'll say exactly what you chose and the percentage of other players that chose the same as you, which is really cool, but it kind of ruins the illusion a little bit.
You can also see you're sort of timed on all of them, so like my time's going down here, and if I don't say anything, I'll just be silent. And actually, all the dialogue choices have a silent option.
Which I really like, because it always bothers me in Mass Effect how, conversations will flow normally even if you pause it for 30 minutes and it's just this awkward staring competition between Rex and Shepard,
So people were a little down on Telltale after Jurassic Park. Obviously, everybody was kind of high on them on Back to the Future. Like, wow, that's a pretty fun game, pretty true to the series. Jurassic Park was a disaster. And
an interesting disaster. I feel bad calling the game a disaster. It's the type of thing where it's like they pulled off what they set out to do. It's just it wasn't the best original design.
Correct. Yeah, the implementation of the gameplay was a little rough. And now with Walking Dead, it seems like they've nailed it. A lot of people ask me on Twitter, like, is it just like the show? And that kind of upsets me because it's more like the comic book, which the show is based off of.
Right. I'm going to be silent, maybe.
Jason, you're a big comic book fan?
Yeah, and Walking Dead in particular. So I'm pretty much caught up on everything. And they've got a big, is it issue 200? I think that's coming out.
No, they're
100?
They're
it can't be
getting
that
close
high.
to 100. Yeah.
There we go. And they've got like 8 different covers for it, which I'm a little excited for.
Yeah, I had never read the comic book, and I've only seen the pilot for the show. So I was really excited to go into this because I come from a Telltale fan background, an adventure game fan background, and I was absolutely blown away. Even from this beginning, just the dialogue, it's like, oh, this is well voice acted, well scripted dialogue, and it's nice. They have very subtle storytelling cues. Every once in a while, you'll see a car pass by. Like, you can tell something's going on in the city behind them. It doesn't hit you over the head right in the beginning. It's nice.
Well, that's what I like. You said right there, like, you see cars blaze past, or this radio kind of keeps going off. Like, it's a well-told story, and I feel like the dialogue, like you said, is pretty good. Unlike a few of other Telltale's other games, I feel like the dialogue has been, off and on. So, but I think they really did it with this one. They did it all the way. I'm gonna look away for the whole game and just stare into Ben Hanson's beautiful eyes.
Thank you. And this part, when the scene comes to an end, eventually, I was absolutely blown away by it. I did not see coming at all. And that's
nice.
It's a nice, subtle kind of focus on the narrative and what they're saying, build up, and then it's like, wham, bam, this is also going to be a bit of an action game.
Well, that's kind of the crazy thing is it's cel-shaded. It looks a little cartoony, but it is really intense, and they do a great job of establishing suspense. And you're going to see a lot of familiar zombie scenarios that you've seen in movies and stuff like that, but they do such a great job of making you panic in those moments, even if you know what's going on. But it isn't just quick-time events like Jurassic Park was. There's actual movement involved. You can see how Ben's cursor is moving around on the screen. If you wanted to whack that guy in the head with a hammer, let's say, you wouldn't just hit the A button to hit him in the head. You'd have to position your cursor on his head to do it.
Right.
And it is still a quick-time event, but you have kind of action tied to it.
Right. And I don't know, does it work well with the controller like this? Like, I played it on the computer, and it worked really well with the mouse, but this looks a little bit awkward having to drag that cursor around.
No, it works great.
Okay.
I actually liked it better on a controller, just because the keyboard, it's not a big difference, but like the keyboard, just kind of like selecting different things when you hover over an item, I found that easier on a controller. So, but yeah, it's not hard on a keyboard. But I mean, you talked about how it's a little bit of an action game. I don't want to give people the wrong impression.
No.
It's definitely not an action game. I mean, there's some action-y moments, but it's definitely story-driven. Oh! Whoa! Like this. This was pretty
What'd
sweet.
you hit, by the way?
Dead man walking.
Oh, shit. Wow.
That was intense, right?
That was good.
All right, so that's the introduction, and now the zombies arrive here.
Who are those guys?
Something, I don't know whether I
others.
liked it or didn't like it, but since I'm not that used to the Walking Dead lore, I was kind of expecting this, and they didn't give it to me, but they didn't set up the story much at all. I think even in Walking Dead, Ben, you're saying like they never really explained what the virus outbreak is all about.
Right.
And that's actually less of the point of the comic book series.
Right.
They never really go into detail as to why. It's definitely more of a human relationship kind of story.
So here he's waking up days later, but he never really has, like they have in all good zombie fiction, and I can see people getting sick of it, but he never has that moment where it's like, wait, what's going on here? Oh, this is not okay. People are walking.
Yeah,
Would that be you in the apocalypse?
That's all I would do. I would just slightly Seinfeld-esque.
I feel like there's a little bit of it like coming up here, but yeah, you're right. There's not a lot, so you can kind of like look around. I don't know if this is an example of like a puzzle in the game.
It's just kind of
But I'm
scenario.
trapped, and I need to figure out how to get out of here.
It's just kind of painting the picture of what's going on. Like you're
Right.
getting details on the environment, the players in each scene.
And there are moments that feel a bit more like an adventure game. The puzzles never get too complex. Your inventory never gets too full. You maybe have 2-3 items, and you never really have to access your inventory. If you hover over an item, you'll have the option to use the items in your inventory with that. But it's never like you're going into your suit pocket like a Grim Fandango or anything.
So
And like
as you can
randomly
see-
applying things to other random things.
Exactly.
To see if they work.
There's very little of that.
I would
Good.
say it's very much like Heavy Rain, where you are moving your character on screen, and then when there is action, it's more scripted. You're not throwing the punches; they're throwing the punches for you. You got to make sure they land, though, right?
Right. It's like Heavy Rain, both an interesting story. I agree, Ryan.
Hey,
Ooh, Jason.
I agree. I like this. People will complain
What's that? Oh yeah, don't.
because
don't you ruin it?
No. I was just gonna say I like this better than Heavy Rain.
So
I'm
Ben
with
is
you, but-
controlling this right now. This is a thing where they make you slide along the car, and now he has full range of movement.
So you can see I can kind of like look around and see some stuff. Like there's a shotgun shell over here. I
Might
guess we
come
can
in
go
handy.
Look at it. My legs all
By the way,
screwed
I'm going
up.
to point out this guy is the biggest klutz in the world. He's got butterfingers. You're going to see a lot of it here today.
He was in a horrific car accident. He's been in
there's
the back of
nothing
a car.
wrong with his hands.
He's been back there for like 2 days. You don't know which hands
So
are
it's-
numb, which feet are numb. His brain's numb.
If he was dropping stuff off of his ankle, fine, because it looks like his ankle's messed up. Those hands are perfect. He could be a hand model. David Duchovny right here.
Speaking of which, I love this character. I love his voice acting, and I looked him up, and he's been in quite a few things. He was actually Tosh in StarCraft 2. If you remember him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, let's go over here to the body. Maybe he has a key. Officer.
I mean, he's a good voice actor, but he's no Ben Reeves when it comes to voice acting.
Officer.
Okay, here we
man.
go.
All right, let's see if I can unlock it. So,
Nope.
oh, come on,
Butterfingers.
really?
And it's like, oh, this? Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he's scared here or just having trouble grabbing it because of his leg.
He's scared, but he really shouldn't be.
I'm not sure
Not
what he's
yet,
scared
yeah.
of yet, though.
Yeah.
I guess I wouldn't want to be near a dead body.
No.
Probably pee myself or something.
All right,
yeah.
so now I'll unlock this other one. Pretty much home free at this point, right?
Yep.
I think so. Zombie apocalypse averted.
hoof it out of there.
Oh, gosh.
Holy shit!
So Ben is controlling this now. He's got to slide back here.
Yep. If you remember, there's that shotgun back here. You can see your inventory off to the left there. You can see I still have that shotgun shell.
Yep.
Let's
Had a
See what
feeling
we
that
can do
might
here.
come in handy.
all right. What? Oh, really?
Butterfingers.
Come on.
We should point out, Reeves, I don't know if you were, if this bumped you, but this is a very mature game. There is a lot of swearing in this game.
You think I should just let this guy come towards me and?
Absolutely. Let it ride.
I think he's
Oh,
he was asking for your registration.
You got to listen to the dialogue here. It made me laugh. After he freaks out. Murder.
shit.
Well, that wasn't the one.
That wasn't what you got?
Do it again.
Dead? Hey! Are you dead?
You shot his head off!
Hey, are you dead?
I love the girl standing up there in the background.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it took me a while to notice her the first time.
Help! Go get someone! There's been a shooting!
There's been a shooting. I like that too.
Wasn't me.
I may or may not
Somebody
have been
shot this
involved.
cop.
So, Ben, how interested were you in this guy's backstory?
I was pretty interested. I mean, there's that stuff in the cop car at the very beginning. You're kind of like, what's really going on? Like, why is he in jail? And you get a little bit more of that as you go on.
His
But it's
name
never
is-
fully explained.
His name is Lee Everett.
Yep.
I don't know if he's going to be the protagonist in all 5 episodes. This is like other Telltale games, an episodic game. This is episode 1. It's called A New Day. Episode 2 is Starved for Help. Episode 3 will be Long Road Ahead. 4, Around Every Corner. And 5, No Time Left. And they're going to be released throughout the year.
I think it's on a monthly basis, which I'm really looking forward to. The first episode is pretty big. It's bigger than the individual episodes of Back to the Future. And I'm wondering if they're going to scale it back in the later episodes. And this is my big worry, is I wonder how effective they can be with this episodic storytelling. Telltale is working on a lot of stuff. And they set up the idea of branching paths in this one. It's very Mass Effectian, if that's a term now. And I wonder...
It shouldn't be.
I know, I'm sorry. I wonder how much they can vary the story up in the future. I think most of it's going to be choosing to save one character or the other. And then in the future episodes, you'll either have one character there or the other. And Reeves, you're actually telling me, we won't spoil anything, but people do die in this episode. And you're saying after you beat it, you get a preview for the next episode. And I turned my head away because I don't want any spoilers for the next one.
Really?
But yeah, I hate that stuff. There's
There's a-
Back to the
Do
Future.
you
I
watch
look away.
trailers?
I hate watching trailers.
I kind of
What
like
do you do
that
when you're in
stuff.
the theater? Do you just like take a nap?
I actually shove my head in the popcorn tub.
Okay.
Yeah. And hope there's not a hole in the bottom. Hey.
Yeah,
My hand's
Paul
usually
Rubens.
in there.
Hello?
I actually
but
really
Reeves-
like that.
Yeah, you're
Um,
saying that they actually had the character that lived
I
in
love
the
this shot.
trailer.
Uh-huh.
Love the shot.
There was stuff in that next time on that's like, oh, that would have been different depending on how I played through this game.
So it's cool they adapt even the trailer for the next episode depending on your choices in this one.
Fill one of those teacups with some bourbon if I could.
Yeah, bourbon.
I like Lee.
My kind of man. Oh.
All I wanted to do was climb up there, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Anybody up
That's
there?
like the perfect zombie fortress.
I know
right
it.
there. They would
Impregnable.
never, ever get up there.
So you can kind of see, like, you use one cursor to kind of look around. I'm obviously controlling Lee here.
Hey, you should just walk up against that wall. Because
Is there something over there?
it's a really crude animation and it bothers me a little
What are
bit.
you talking about?
Just like run into a wall.
Into any wall?
Yes, that wall right there.
Are we nitpicking the game?
Just
what are you
that.
doing?
That
Oh.
drives me nuts. And
Yeah.
that's one thing is this game still has... I feel bad because I love Telltale. I really like their Back to the Future series.
But how many times are you doing that?
No, I
Look
know.
how slow you move.
I'm just
Hanson
getting to
does
the
that all
point.
the time.
I'm just getting to the point that it's still...
He's dumb.
Well, if you can
It still
hear
has a little bit of that Telltale jank. There's some bits later that if you do it out of order, it doesn't feel quite right. Some of the sound effects are missing, little weird things like that.
the house through the glass door before wandering out into the neighborhood.
It's like a destruction derby there.
Yeah. Kind of just looking around. So you can kind of explore. There's not a whole lot to explore. Like the game, like Hanson's kind of saying, is somewhat linear. I mean, there's some stuff you can do out of order, but you kind of always know where you're going to go next.
Yeah, I don't know if you technically still call it an adventure game, or if it's more of a story. It's almost just like a story game.
I'd call it an adventure game, but yeah, there definitely are. It's kind of the perfect fusion of the Back to the Future and Jurassic Park style, which is a bizarre thing to say. And Ben, I'm curious, did you want it to go more in one direction than the other? Would you rather have action and quick time events or more adventure game?
My 2 favorite moments are coming up right here, by the way.
Yeah, there's some sweet moments in here. I don't know. I actually like it. I'm not a huge fan of like exploring, and sometimes it's easy to like, here's an open world, explore, and there's not a whole lot to see. So I'm kind of glad that they keep it focused on the story.
Yeah, there's a great bit of storytelling here with the
You can
phone.
kind of like look at this. Oh yeah, that's pretty sweet. Some coloring
Okay,
books.
unicorn,
Alright.
always cool.
Kind of like wander over here.
Take that fruit.
Ooh, I could use some fruit.
Damn.
It's the worst of his troubles.
All right, yeah. So here's some backstory.
Let's see what this is all about.
3 new messages.
Who still has those?
Left at 5:43.
I like that you can just kind of walk around while this is going on.
This is Diana. We're still in Savannah. Ed had a little incident with some crazy guy near the hotel, so we had to get him back to the ER and have it checked out. Anyway, he's not feeling well enough to drive back tonight, so we're staying an extra day. Thanks so much for looking after Clementine, and I promise we'll be back in time before your spring break.
Message 2. Left at 11.
He didn't like those blinds.
Not at
Oh
all.
my God, finally.
Can't get upstairs
I don't know
either.
if you tried to reach us. All the calls are getting dropped. They're not letting us leave and aren't telling us anything about Atlanta. Please, just leave the city and take Clementine with you back to Murrieta. I've got to get back to the hospital. Please let me know that you're safe.
Message 3.
All right.
All right. One more.
I've got friends in Marietta.
Baby,
Really?
Yeah.
if you can hear this, call
One
the
named
police.
Clementine.
That's 911. We love you. We love you. We love you.
So, do people still hit 911, or do you have 911 like programmed into your phone, into your contact list?
Do you?
I'm just asking. That's a question I'm asking you
No,
guys.
do you?
Do I? No, I don't.
Okay,
I would
good.
dial 911, but it
That'd
seems
be
like it'd be quicker in this day and age just to hit a contact, right?
That I would feel like the second I put 911
So hold on.
911 as a contact.
All
I
right,
would
here's one of my
die.
favorite
We
moments.
missed this right here, though, where
It wasn't the
I
unicorn?
wonder if we can't do that anymore.
Oh,
Because you can
wait.
slip on
Oh,
that
yeah, you
blood.
slip on the
Oh,
blood.
yeah, it didn't happen.
Because
Well,
we didn't walk over there.
if you're going to play this for the first time, don't go to the answering machine first. Go into the kitchen because he slips on that blood and like it's hilarious. Kind of like Raiden from
What a dummy.
Metal Gear 2.
You need to be quiet.
Who is this?
Who is this?
I'm Clementine. This is my house.
Hi, Clementine. I'm Lee.
You're not my daddy.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am.
I'm not.
Let's just play the silent game.
Did they get
So even
you?
though I criticize some of
Hello?
the sound design in this game for being hit and miss,
This right here is fantastic.
yeah, and the sound mixing is also very strange sometimes with the voices. But I should say the music is really enjoyable in this game, especially like later on. There's kind of like a central hub area, and there's some music there that's
Where
great.
the boats are?
Yeah,
Interesting.
he knows to
Had him-
avoid the blood.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's supposed to fall there. He didn't.
I'm outside in my treehouse. They can't get in.
That's smart.
That's what we were saying.
Can
Look,
you
there
see
she
me?
is.
I can see you through the window.
They should just go up there and live. Start a new society.
I know.
Be
Free
treated.
Family
House
Robinson in the backyard.
Whoa!
Oh, it's a babysitter.
Instead of a monkey, they could have a pet zombie. It'd be great.
Nice work, Ben. So this is all just scripted.
I
Quick
still.
time event. Here we go.
Oh,
did it again.
that looks so nasty.
You can fall on that twice.
Here's one of the action
so
bits.
I kick her.
Ugh.
This is kind of how action sequences kind of play out. They're kind of like quick time events, but not really. You kind of have to select something. It's interesting.
Ben, at any moment playing this game, were you actually scared?
I thought this was kind of intense. I wouldn't say scared. No.
That part's like made me jump, and then there's parts later where it's kind of like you can look in an area, but it's
So-
timed.
So Ben's
Grab
sliding
that.
back here, and he has to put the cursor up to get the hammer.
Take that.
Now this is kind of like God of War 3 here. You just keep doing this. Just keep going. Yeah. Keep going.
And
More.
I don't want to spoil anything, but this is also kind of foreshadowing in a very weird way.
I don't think you can stop going.
She looks good. Crypt Keeper.
Well,
Man.
I need a new shirt and pants.
Hi there.
Maybe some socks. Nice to meet you, little girl.
don't look that. I
I was scared that was her mom the first time I played this. I was like, oh god, is this gonna get
Yeah.
super dark?
Before me, I think.
So, like, it gives you those little notifications up in the top left to kind of like tell you what the characters remember when you're talking to them, or if you lie to them, they might kind of suspect. Like, it gives you kind of hints.
And you can turn those off. I prefer to play it with it off and just try and make it more organic.
Yeah, that seems a little off-putting.
Yeah, it's like if every time you made a decision in Mass Effect, it's like, you chose to preserve the genophage. It's like, I don't need that thrown in my face.
But I'll look
One of the
at
great things about Robert Kirkman is how little he gives you, but the promise of so much more. And that's something here with this girl and her parents. You know that that's going to resolve at some point. I don't know, Jason, you've read Kirkman all the way through on Walking Dead. Every issue ends with a major cliffhanger. Like, without fail, every issue you're like, oh God, at the end of it.
And I'm never frustrated by it because I know that there's always going to be some kind of payoff.
So
it's always something major, and like he is willing to kill just about anybody or do some like drastic things to
even to the main
characters.
characters.
Yeah.
That's what I love about
like
this
you can't
series.
suspect anything.
It's like, I don't know when Lee is going to die, but I'd be shocked at some point if they didn't kill him off. End of the season, halfway through the season, I think it'd be great. And it's very scary because every character you meet, it has that tension of, oh God, they're probably going to die at some point, or I'm going to have to watch them turn. So I thought, tell me if I'm wrong, but I could have sworn I read an interview with Kirkman one time where he was talking about the comic, and he's like, I could do this forever.
Yeah,
like I
that's
will
at the
never run out of
beginning.
stories.
That's actually, if you get the omnibus or the trades that they released, he has a foreword in there that he wrote. He's like, I'm just going to keep this going until I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, that was sort of
so I don't
his
think there's
goal.
ever a planned ending or anything like that. He's just kind of going seat of his pants.
And this is a bit premature because we've only played the first episode, and I really like the first episode. I mean, I can see this going for a number of seasons, and I would be just fine with it.
Yeah, and the TV show, in my opinion, is a disaster because it's so different than the comic, and the comic was so good, and the TV show jumped the shark. Like episode 5, the season finale of season 1 was awful.
Have you watched season 2 though?
No, absolutely not.
I like season 2 better.
It's really slow moving. It doesn't pick up till like halfway through.
It's a lot different than the comic, but I like it.
I do too. I don't think it's as much of a travesty. But.
And I'm also a big fan of Kirkman's Invincible. I don't know if you guys have read that.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Fantastic. It's more his kind of superhero origin story, but again, it's like Walking Dead. You just don't know what's going to happen. And I'm on like the 14th trade of it right now, and it's so different than when it started. And I love seeing comic book stories progress, and that's something he's really good at. And DC and Marvel should do more of is they always just kind of stall out. They change something. They go back on what they did. But with Kirkman, you know when someone dies, they're done.
Right.
Like, they're not coming back unless it completely changes everything.
So we should point out, at least as far as I know, the show is not canon, and this game is considered canon. And it's kind of side stories. But Ben, you're saying there are a couple characters that intersect between the comics and the game.
Yeah. You'll run into like Glenn. Everybody knows Glenn from the show and the comic.
But I hope
and Herschel from like the farm.
Yeah, not having read the comic, it's like, oh, these are interesting characters, and they completely stand on their own. And I hope it does diverge even more, and it's not reliant on the comic. It kind of goes into some new uncharted waters.
Well, in some ways, it's kind of like a prequel too, because all this stuff technically happens while Rick is in a coma. So, you know, he's currently in a coma right now in the comics, and like because the zombie apocalypse just happened. This is like day 1.
We should stop here.
Yeah, let's just see what happens right here, and then this little scene. And as soon as you take control, we'll end it here.
Uh-oh.
But this is a pretty good look. There's still a lot of content left in this episode. It's about 2 hours long.
2 to 3, yeah.
I think 2.5 maybe. Let's meet in the middle, guys.
But I highly recommend you play this. It's incredible. Really, really surprised by it, especially after playing Jurassic Park. I did not like Jurassic Park. I laughed all the way through Jurassic Park. This one, I'm actually engaged in the story, the characters, and the action.
There were glimmers of hope in Jurassic Park, and I feel like this kind of takes advantage and understands the synthesis of the adventure gaming and the QuickTime events a bit more. So I'm looking forward to the future.
Walking Dead, video game.
So hats off Telltale. And hey, guys, thank you for joining me, all 3 of my Bens.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.